Good evening, sports fans, and welcome to another edition of Red Sox Digest. I am your host tonight, Jim Delfino. Let's just pause for a second. A wild card series at Yankee Stadium. This is what nightmares are made of. I mean, who the hell signed me up to run a Red Sox podcast during a week where we got to go play our season in the house that Derek Jeter's gift basket built? Hosting this show right now feels like being forced to MC a wedding where your ex is the bride, your bank account is the groom, and the Yankees are DJing Enter Sandman for the first dance. But hey, here I am running this podcast like John Henry runs the Red Sox payroll, recklessly optimistic, slightly underfunded, and praying nobody notices until it's way too late. Joining me tonight is Nick Face. Nick's fired up about this series. He's basically already picked a fight with 6 Yankee fans online, 2 bartenders in the Bronx, and a grandmother from Staten Island who dared to say Aaron Judge was a nice boy. This man will argue with a street light if it flickers during the ninth inning. Nick, the only thing louder than Yankee Stadium is when someone suggests to you Trevor Story is clutch. And also with us tonight is Thayer Doyle. Thayer's a fundamentals guy. He lives for crisp defense, turning double plays, and keeping it clean, which is hilarious because in this wild card series, he gets to watch Anthony Volpe and Jazz Chisholm try to play short and second like it's T-ball. The Yankees call it a middle infield. I call it a crime scene. Thayer's probably diagramming how to field a ground ball on his fridge while Volpe's out there booting routine plays and Jazz is turning every double play into interpretive dance. If defense really wins championships there, then the Yankees are about to be eliminated in record time. Let's get into it. Your Boston Red Sox are heading to the Bronx for a wild card series that's basically a horror film in 3 parts. Best of all 3, all in Yankee Stadium, and because MLB wanted drama and apparently therapy bills for the Red Sox Nation. Now, some headlines leading in. Pitching matchups. It's looking like Crochet against Fried in game 1. Great. Nothing says confidence like your young ace facing a dude who shaves twice before breakfast and throws 98 miles an hour like he's lobbing Nerf balls. How many antacids should the Red Sox fans have on standby by the 3rd inning? Yankee fans are already talking. Twitter, X, whatever we're calling it now, is a cesspool of pinstripe arrogance. Fans are already predicting a sweep. They haven't even figured out where to park their Ubers yet, but apparently they already got a parade mapped out. Nick, how many of those people have you muted this week? Fenway versus Bronx atmosphere. Fenway Park sings Sweet Caroline. Yankee Stadium chants Boston sucks. That's the vibe we're walking into. Thayer, you're a fundamentals guy. How does a team mentally prep for an environment where even the hot dog vendors are heckling you? The X Factor players in this, everyone's looking at Story, Duran, and Yoshida to step up. Meanwhile, the Yankees trot out Judge, Stanton, and some random rookie who'll probably hit 700 in this series just because it's us. Question, which Red Sox role players are going to have their Mark Bellhorn moment this week? Red Sox October PTSD. Let's not forget, this is where the rivalry gets weird. Cursed bounces, fan interference, ghosts of Mariano Rivera. It's like every time we play there, the baseball gods hold a seance. Gentlemen, what's more likely? A Boston win in New York or another decade trying to explain why Aaron Boone's walk-off in '03 still hurts my soul? So buckle up, Sox fans. The wild card circus is about to roll into New York. And if history tells us anything, it's going to be loud, it's going to be painful, and possibly involving a broken television, most likely in my room. Nick, let's start off with the word of the day.
And now it's time for Nick Face's Word of the Day!
Ow. Ow. Ow.
Lucas Giolito. Liam
Elbow. Elbow. No, don't even go there on that one. That's a lost cause.
Oh, we got a lot to talk about.
Ow, my boo-boo. I did not expect to hear that news today on Giolito. I did not expect to hear that he wouldn't be a part of the wild card round here on the roster. and they are looking over his elbow to see what's going on there. Obviously, that's concerning because anytime you hear about a pitcher's arm, specifically elbow, and the injury that he priorly had, his Tommy John, it is scary to say the least. And that's a depth piece that you needed, and we're hopefully counting on as your number 3 guy in this particular series. This now puts a lot of pressure on Conley early, or a Kyle Harrison, or a Peyton Tolley. I don't know where they're going to be at with roster selections here on it. My money's going to be on Conley early. That's what I would do. But I think it all depends here on how games 1 and 2 go, because you have to get somewhere to get to game 3. So maybe I shouldn't be looking ahead too far. Maybe I shouldn't. Maybe this game 3, heck, maybe the Yankees sweep. Maybe the Yankees take game 1 and 2, and we don't even have to be talking about a game 3. But for right now, going into a series where you were counting on Crochet, Bayo, and Giolito, in some variations, we might have even had Giolito as your number 2 guy going into a playoff rotation. It's definitely concerning. We'll hopefully find out more information tomorrow or into the next day, but he is being evaluated, and I think they're waiting on results to see what's going on with that. Now, after the news came out, I thought about it for a little bit. He hasn't looked right in about a month, to come to think of it. He just hasn't. It's been short outings. Control has been an issue. He's been sweating profusely, whether we thought it might be nerves or just fatigue or whatnot. But now it's kind of adding up here. Something hasn't been right with Giolito. I give him credit for gutting it out and trying to make it work, but it's a guy that you were counting on to be a bulldog and to be an arm to get you to that next place. Now you don't have that. Now it's that next man up mentality that the Red Sox have to go into this series against the Yankees for. So we can talk about it, but tonight, elbow is of concern for me. So elbow is word of the day.
Nick's word of the day is brought to you by New York City earplugs, because if you're a Red Sox fan in Yankee Stadium this week, you'll need them to drown out 47,000 people chanting "Boston sucks" while Anthony Volpe boots another ground ball. New York City earplugs, protecting your sanity since Aaron Boone ruined 2003. And now it's time for the third strike.
And now it's time for the third strike with Thayer.
Take it away.
So I gotta say, I'm with Nick. And when I heard about Giolito, the first thing that came to my mind is this season is just not going to end the way we thought it was going to end. It's going to continue to go like the whole season is gone. The Red Sox take a step forward. They take 2 steps back. We start to think maybe Breslow has an idea. Nope, none whatsoever. We don't need Walker Buehler. We don't need to trade for Joe Ryan. Heck, we don't need Quinn Priester. We're fine. We got plenty of pitching in this organization. And now we find out that if there's a third game in the wild card series, we are going to probably throw, and it's probably Nick, I think it's going to be Conley early because of all those other guys that we've talked about. He's been probably the most effective. So with what could be the playoff hopes on the line, the Red Sox are going to turn to a guy who really none of us had heard anything of at all season long, and who has made 4 starts. And that's going to be what it falls down to. And I'm happy we're in the playoffs, but I am so disgusted with the front office and what they've done. And I have to give all the credit to the uniform personnel, Cora, the players. We've been all over them all year long. They've done some stupid things, but they are who they are, and they've maximized their abilities. To say that this team has gotten to where they are, and Jim, I know we were talking a lot all year long about how the team added Crochet, it added Bregman, it added Chapman to a team that had a pretty decent year last year. We were thinking, all right, everything is going to be positive. But then you start to think about you didn't have a first baseman again. Not that Tristan Casas was a great first baseman, but it was what they had planned. You still don't have a second baseman. You had a shortstop who we all expected to basically be DFA'd sometime around, Memorial Day, and now he's your MVP. Bregman, who has been up and down and all around, and who the heck knows what's going on. And then you have a catcher who came out of absolute nowhere to solve your team. So all these positives, but at the same time, it comes down again to Breslow just not being able to provide enough for this team and this roster to really do what we wish they would do. And, that's kind of where I'm sitting with him. This strike one, strike two, and strike three. Breslow is out. Unfortunately, we're the ones that are going to strike out because we're not going to get rid of him anytime soon.
The third strike is sponsored by New York City Subway. Much like the Red Sox offense, in the Bronx, it's delayed, it's overcrowded, and you'll never really sure where it's going to end up. The third strike, at least this one doesn't smell like hot garbage. So I want to kind of go into some of the news of the day. Since we've already talked a little bit about Giolito, let me bring up his name here. So Lucas Giolito is injured. Obviously came out today regarding his elbow. This is a guy that had a UCL procedure. The UCL stands for the ulnar collateral ligament, and it is a very common ligament that gets injured in a Tommy John surgery procedure. He didn't have a full Tommy John on that. He had a bracing procedure, and that was one of the reasons why he was able to come back within 1 year, regardless of the hip or back issue that he had earlier in the season, which kind of prolonged him from breaking camp with the team. That being said, it puts a lot, as we already talked about so far tonight, a lot of question marks on who is going to be that number 3 starter. And obviously the two names, Connolly Early and Kyle Harrison. Thayer, I want to start with you on this. Connolly Early has looked very, very good. He was a little bit preoccupied in that Tampa Bay series with their leadoff hitter when he got on. Seemed like he was really kind of worried about him, and I think he broke consciousness with making sure he stayed in on that game, and I think that led to that bad performance. But he actually regrouped by the second inning, and my point is that all of his starts have been very good. Kyle Harrison has also pretty much been a breath of fresh air. He did have that start where he got the bases loaded with 2 walks, I think, in the first, but he did calm down. Who is your number 3 starter now that Giolito is going to be out, and why?
Early is my guy, simply because when you watch him, he has a lot more control. I think Harrison, when you think about his fastball, it's has a little bit more dominance to it. However, he has no idea where it's going. And in a playoff game, you cannot afford to put people on base. And there's something about Early. Maybe it has something to do with his military roots, his West Point piece. He seems to maintain his composure and stay within the moment. Maybe he's probably, experienced a lot in his life. And baseball is a game, and it's a difficult game, and you're going to experience a lot of failure in it. And you have to be able to control your emotions and your understanding of what's happening around you. And perhaps that has given him a little bit more sort of, shall we say, resilience. And I think he has a much better chance of performing in Yankee Stadium. Harrison, as talented as he is, I don't think he has the mental makeup to be as dominant as we need him to be. Where, granted, Early doesn't have quite the tools, but he's got a nice mix. He can work things in and out and up and down. The lefty to Judge in the stand, that kind of worries me. But maybe it won't matter. Maybe Crochet and Bayo go out and do their thing. And like you said, the Yankees are a carnival show, and then turn it into a defense loses championships for them, and we don't have to worry about him. And he starts game 1 of the divisional series. But I would go with Early.
Nick, similar question to you with all the controversy involving Giolito. Who is your game 3 starter and why?
It's 100% Conley early. I echo exactly what Thayer was saying here with composure and getting it. There's so many players on this team. And what I mean by get it, mentally in the game, knows the moment, and it's not too big for them. It's something that I would say even Roman Anthony has that skill set. Roman Anthony, when we saw him come up, we understood he was going to struggle maybe to get going, but then he figured it out and he got himself into a groove and became the talk of the team on turning everything around. What I like a lot is the military background here for him. He's that structure to anybody who goes into a program or goes into combat or anything like that. That takes a lot of courage and balls to do that for your life. And I think this team lacks the gonads at time. I think they do. And I would compete. I would absolutely love to see Conley Early compete in game 3. Say it's 1-1. Red Sox win one game, the Yankees win Wednesday's game, and Conley Early has to take the ball and get the Red Sox to that next round. I don't think the moment's too big for him. And that's one thing that I have watched since he's come up that has impressed me the most. And I think that he would relish the opportunity. I really do. To put the team on the back and try to deliver that team to that next round. I'm excited to see him pitch in this series. I definitely think, and I'm going to say I'm 99.9% sure, so long as he doesn't have to save game 1 or 2, and meaning that he come into the situation there, he'll be your game 3 guy. And I think you'll see like a Kyle Harrison as your long relief. Say a disaster hits and Crochet goes down and Bayo can't get out of the 3rd, 4th inning. You'll see Harrison at some point there. And there might be a glimpse of Peyton Tolle here. Now that Giolito's down, they may be wanting to put in some other guys who have that starting experience here a little bit to come in for an inning or two and shut the Yankees down at some point. You may see it. I'm not sure where we're going to be at when rosters get announced for tomorrow, but I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Kyle Harrison and Peyton Tolle on the roster tomorrow. I wouldn't be.
Yeah, so here's my take on why Connolly Early is my number 3 starter. It's a simple fact that he's left-handed. It really goes no farther than that. I want to neutralize Grisham. I want to neutralize Ben Rice. I want to neutralize Bellinger. I want to neutralize Wells, McMahon, whatever I can. I don't want to give them the upper hand by having another right-hander in Yankee Stadium making his first appearance. I know that obviously Early would be, but the left-hander I think is our advantage here. So I think that's the number one reason why I want. I'll give you everything you guys both said in this is absolutely 100% accurate. The composure, the fact that you have a little bit more confidence just in what you've seen. But for me, it's the left-handed arm is what I'm really going for. So that's why I'm going to choose him as my number 3 guy in this scenario. Moving right along, Brian Bayo has been named the Game 2 starter. Kind of everything segueing together, obviously, on this show. He has a 2.35 ERA, 65 innings, 17 earned runs, and 11 career starts against the Yankees. He's 3-1 with a 1.44 ERA. It's 31 and a third innings, 5 earned runs, and 5 career starts at Yankee Stadium. I don't want to use the word Yankee killer, Nick, but what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on Bayo? Those are pretty striking numbers.
Even if Giolito was to be healthy in this series, this right here is why going in against the Yankees, I would absolutely have put Bayo as my number 2 guy. Those numbers should speak volumes to how this guy has transformed himself to pitch against the Yankees. And did you notice my vocabulary I just used? Transform against playing against the Yankees. I did not say he's the daddy. I didn't say any of that. He has learned how to pitch against the rival, is what that means. He has done everything that you could have imagined to give the team trust in knowing he's going to get the job done against this team. One big stat that we didn't talk about at this point yet in this pod tonight. The Red Sox have 9 wins against the Yankees this season. They played them 13 times. That means the Yankees only won 4 times. Why people think that this is a home run, door shut series for the Yankees? We're hearing it on Twitter. We're hearing it. We're hearing that, oh, the Yankees got this in the bag. It's their series. Red Sox have had the upper hand during this season. They have played very well against them and have gotten the job done. I also want to point out the fact the Red Sox have beaten the Yankees in all these series in the playoffs since 2004. It's been a long time since the Yankees have now won against the Red Sox. So, curious to see how this goes. All the stars are lining up right for the Red Sox with Crochet going game 1. Our left-handed hitting lineup, I'm sure, is going to be thriving at the opportunity to hit against Max Fried and see how this goes. I'm actually a little bit hopeful, to tell you the truth, in this series. I said it on this broadcast. If the Red Sox make the playoffs, I actually want the Yankees because I've actually had a good feeling about playing the Yankees this season. I have. Jim, I think you said the same thing. You said, if a series is to align, I want the Yankees. And some of us got, what are you kidding me? Why do you want them? Because I look at the numbers and I see a team, the Red Sox, where we've bitched and complained all season about some of the plays. But you know what? Fundamentally, the Yankees are worse than the Red Sox. So the Red Sox have the upper hand here so long as they show up and play the right game.
Yeah, look, I mean, if you are a true Red Sox fan, because there's a lot of fair weather people, especially on Twitter, with all your stupid, lame BS name accounts and burners, and I'm not even going to go into most of that tonight because it just irritates the hell out of me. But if you're a true fan, what more do you want than Red Sox Yankees? I mean, you have a chance to eliminate your arch rival. Screw Toronto, screw Cleveland. You want to eliminate your arch rival. If they get past you, they get past you. But you want to eliminate your arch rival. Thayer, similar question to you on Bayo. You know, I asked Nick, not really calling him a Yankee killer yet, but you got to like what you've been seeing, and I think he's really maturing a lot better. And we talked about it a lot on this season.
I agree. I think this is going to be an interesting start for Bayo from the standpoint of what's it going to mean, not only short term, but long term for the Red Sox. We all talked this summer about needing the number 2 pitcher. We have to go out and get Ryan. We need to go do it. And if you believe all the chatter, the Red Sox were willing to go all in with Tolley being in a package and offering up lots of things, to the point where there's a discussion that maybe they're going to revisit it this summer, this winter. And that really is going to depend on how Bayo pitches. He has shown since he came up, since he was a kid, what a lot of people have talked about is the stuff of an ace, or at least a top of the rotation kind of pitcher. But it was always the emotional sort of deficiency, the inability to stand in that moment and to handle negative situations. That always is where he struggled. And this year we saw him turn that corner to the point where when adversity hit, he was able to still maintain his composure and produce on the mound and not allow the game to steamroll out of control. I know we talked about it in one of his previous starts just a few days ago, where it looked like it was going to unravel on him, but he maintained and sort of got it back under control and didn't let it go. So I think going to Yankee Stadium in a situation where he's going to be, put on a spot this is really going to be an opportunity to see just who Brian Bayo is going to be. Is he going to be this top of the rotation kind of guy that we can rely on, where we have Crochet and we have Bayo signed and locked up for a long time, and here we go? Or is it going to be the same guy who has, a $1 million arm and, a 10-cent emotional brain? So let's see what we got there. I like to think that, because I know Nick talked a lot about it earlier on, where, Bayo really changed when his family showed up. And having family and having that sort of security at home has helped him a lot. So maybe that's all he needed, just that emotional support. I have a feeling he's going to do well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you on that. Nick, go ahead.
Paging John Henry. Get Bayo's family to the Yankee Stadium for Game 2, please, on the double.
Yeah, not a bad idea there. I will say that. Next order of business, there was a tweet today that Alex Bregman wasn't feeling too well. I hope this is nothing more than, whistling past a graveyard a little bit, and it really won't mean anything. He was out there, I think, fielding ground balls. Let's just give this about 30 seconds. Nick, your reactions to that. Do you think it has any legs?
I heard he had Mexican last night for dinner.
Yeah. Yeah.
The beans got to him.
Yeah, I think he had Modelo for beer when they celebrated. Thayer, really quick.
Wash that down with the taco.
Thayer, really quick. Your thoughts on Bregman? Does this have legs, or is this a non-topic?
It's a non-issue. He's going to play, and so he's a gamer. He's a professional. Exactly.
As Terry Francona would say,
what you got to do.
Intestinal turmoil.
Yep.
If you remember that one.
They do the trick.
Moving right along to some other topics here. The next one that I want to discuss, Roman Anthony, as some other Red Sox players at this point in the season, is heading to Fort Myers, and it was noted today there is no timetable on a return. I've come out on this podcast and said you will not see him again in 2025. Really quickly, Thayer, your reactions and what is your thought on him?
Keep him rolling. If he's anywhere near capable of swinging a bat or doing anything, I think they just continue to try and monitor him, bring him down to Fort Myers, keep him working. Who knows? I don't think he's going to play an impactful role, but if the kid is as gifted as we all say, maybe there's an ability where he can just sort of step on the field and hit, and maybe we get lucky. I don't really see him coming back and helping us, but stranger things have happened.
Nick, 30 seconds on Roman Anthony.
Looked fine to me during the celebration. I know he's not running or anything like that, but he was there. He was partying it up. Him and his boy, Marcelo, they looked like they were ready to go and get activated for the wild card round. I still don't hold in any cards with him returning this season. And let's also be real here, people. This is a matter of this team can get to that next round as well, too. I am being hopefully optimistic here against this round against the Yankees. You couldn't have drawn up a better opponent, in my opinion. I was actually a little nervous with Toronto, Cleveland, even Detroit, if you get Screwball or something in there. I think the Red Sox can take care of this. But then after that, it's how do we do against Toronto? And how do we do against if we get to the next round and all? So let's slow our roll here. Let's go game by game and take it one day at a time. See what happens here, and see if anything happens with Roman. I do not see him returning, though.
It's funny. It was brought up, I think, a couple days ago on either Felger and Maz or on Maz's baseball show. And I don't know if it was him or a caller had come in and said, what about just having him on the active roster, hoping not even to swing, but just have his bat, and his eye on the ball mentality and hopefully working a walk, in a crucial situation. I don't know if I want to
do a Kirk Gibson.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to waste a roster spot on that potential, but I mean, it's something to think about. I mean, if he could just be in a game to pinch hit and swing and load him up on some medication just so it doesn't hurt for a little bit and swing away. I think Carabas brought it up. Moving along.
I think Dr. Jim needs to be there to give him a little bit of something, and then we'll make sure it's all good. So let's get
little bit of
Jim to the dugout.
A little bit of laser to shockwave therapy cures a lot of stuff.
Mhm.
Speaking about needing a cure, Liam Hendricks, it came out today that Mr. Ambulance here, he needs elbow surgery. And here's the kicker on all this. And I'm going to start my rant on this one a little bit just because I want to. The Red Sox have a $2 million buyout on 2026. And I know all the retards on Twitter are going to say,
Hey, yeah, but it's nothing for John Henry. It's like you buying a scooter.
look, people don't get rich making stupid decisions. But I will say this. This is one of the prime examples. If you want to look in the dictionary under stop bringing in reclamation projects, this is a good one to have at the top of the list because this stuff has got to stop. I mean, Nick, we've been over this a billion times this entire season, and I've talked to this with a lot of people. All the Corey Klubers in the world, all the James Paxtons, all the Sandovals, all these guys that have just laced this roster that were paid to rehab and paid to leave. It's got to stop. You can't keep doing this. I hope to Christ that John Henry and company look at a guy like Crochet and look at Bayo and look at Early and look at these guys and look at some of them that are available on the trade market and stop thinking that they're going to find some kind of diamond in the rough because it's not working. It hasn't worked. Go look at the numbers. I've looked them up. It's almost $100 million since 2020 on reclamation projects that have not gotten you more than 10 or 15 wins. It's not cost effective, and it hasn't been. Stop doing it. I don't care if it's a starter or a reliever like Liam Hendricks. It's not working. It very rarely pays off. So let's not do it anymore. Because not only did you have to pay him for 2 years, don't forget, this idiot was supposed to be back last year and potentially supposed to be the closer in August and September, and then he had a setback. Then he had a setback. I mean, he's had more setback than the game setback. Okay. And now the Red Sox have to pay him $2 million just to go home. Really quickly, Thayer, your reactions to Hendricks.
Well, there's a reason Conley Early is pitching game 3 because the front office and all their wisdom, whether it's Heim, Bloom, or Breslow, is putting their money and their options into reclamation projects instead of, now, I know we didn't go after him. It was a good thing. Charlie Morton. Some teams brought him in last year. Some teams brought in Lugo. Some teams brought in Michael Waka. Looks like most of those guys, now granted Morton hasn't done, they pitched an entire year. They weren't great, but they were the most important thing in the world, available. You had people that were actually breathing and could lift their arm and get on the mound and pitch. And that is what the Red Sox have refused to do. And that's why, as we're getting into this discussion, who's going to be the number 3 starter? There's really only 3 choices. All of them are under the age of 24, and none of them have really any experience. And why is that? Because the front office has been negligent.
And none of them had a start in Yankee Stadium in their career.
Heck, most of them haven't even had a start in the majors. What do you have, 4, 2? Harrison's got a few more, and 1 or 2. You have guys with less than 10 starts.
Nick?
We should just throw that De Los Santos kid that threw the end of the season game. Why not? Hey, go guy, go through game 3. Yeah, Ponce de Leon.
Yeah, he did. It was 0-9 in the minors and comes up and throws a gem. I mean, you can't script that any better. But
he's one of our founding fathers.
final take on Hendricks and final take on reclamation projects. John Henry and Company, in the event that you're listening to this podcast, stop. It's not a sensible business decision. It's not. Stop telling your guys to go out and try to find these diamonds in the rough because it hasn't worked. Look at your numbers and you will see that it hasn't worked.
I have
It's
one more on the reclamation project before you go to your thing. I
sure.
don't know about you guys, but I'm really looking forward to Alberto Mondesi coming up next season and just playing and doing such a great job. I
Mhm.
can't wait for it. It's just such a great move that they got and brought him in. I can't wait. I legitimately can't wait. I'm going to have the
He's going
biggest
to solve
party
our
when he
middle
comes
infield
up.
issue.
Mhm.
He's going to be our new Trevor Story at shortstop. You're going to love him, folks. You're just going to love it.
So just kind of adding salt to the wound with the Lucas Giolito elbow injury. So I tweeted something similar to this out today, and I said if Lucas had pitched under 140 innings, there was a club option for 2026 for 14 million, which was quite reasonable to get a starter for the following season. But since he pitched 145, that's 5 innings extra. That club option now is a mutual option of 19 million. So it's going to cost you 5 more million for 2026. If he's hurt, guess what you think he's going to do? And instead of getting the reaction from people that know what English and grammar and comprehension is all about, we got dugout dipshits.
And now it's time for everyone's favorite segment, the Dugout Dipshits.
And Dugout Dipshits is powered by Yankee Stadium beer prices because nothing says October baseball like paying $17 for a warm Bud Light, spilling half of it on your shoes, and still getting heckled by a guy in a pinstripe tank top who hasn't seen soap since 2009 parade. Yankee Stadium beer prices, the true wild card no one wins. So I posted that, and this dipshit, Mike G Mags, who's been a little bit ruffling my feathers for a while, which I don't really care, but he's an idiot. He says, I can't fathom being this dumb. And his whole thing was I didn't understand what a mutual option was. So let's explain something to you, Mike, because obviously you didn't pass third grade. I said on that, if he's hurt, guess what he's going to do? The idea here was that, and you have to use your brain to kind of like foreshadow. There's something in this world called sarcasm that I think anybody under the age of 30 doesn't understand on Twitter, but that's besides the point. So get yourself some remedial reading, Mike, and follow along. And if you need hooked on phonics, it'll work for you. But what this meant was he's not going to just opt out if he's hurt. He's going to try and say, I will go in on that mutual option. We all know the Red Sox are not going to sign off on that and take him. But the point of this was, guess what he's going to do? And that was that he would, exercise his side of that mutual option. Why wouldn't he? Who's going to take him on the open market? He's not going to get another Red Sox deal unless the Red Sox come around and say, we'll pay you again 2 years to rehab. So try to read first, Mike, before you start, trying to troll people. Because, and you know what? I'm going to tell you right now, shave that white crap underneath your chin. You look like a dipshit. But then again, that's why you got today's dipshit award.
Jim, I think the hair is interrupting the eyes, so I think that might be the reason why he did that. I
Yeah,
think that it's
probably.
getting into the eyes. You can't see.
Mike, I'll be sure to take this excerpt from you from the show, and I'll send it to you on your DM. Have a good night. So moving forward a little bit more, let us go into some chats. We've got let's see. Anthony Noli, pronounced FU, I guess. Different Yankees team. Sounds good. Yankees and Sox. Let's go. Obviously, he kind of was talking about the same thing. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. He's thinking about a sweep. I guess he's probably thinking either the Red Sox are going to sweep. Nope, I guess not. I guess he's calling for a Yankee sweep. Here's the thing on this first wild card. Is this look? There, under no circumstances do I think any of us believe that this team is a World Series or bust team. I think we're all in agreement on that. I think the best scenario is if they are going to get eliminated in the first round, I would like it to at least go the full 3 games. I'd like everybody to try to get as many postseason at bats. I'd like to see Connolly early actually get that start in that third game at this point so that you can have a young pitcher who looks like he's got a lot of promise get a postseason start. That's what I'm hoping for. So, would I love them to win? Of course. But if they're going to lose, I would like them to go all 3. Your closing reactions for tonight's podcast.
I think as we go into the playoffs, I'm going to say the Red Sox are going to win this series for a few reasons. One, I think Crochet is going to be that person that we signed. I think he's going to go in and I think he's going to shove. And I think he's going to get us to the spot where our advantage comes into play. I see it being Crochet. And then I think we go right to Whitlock and to Chapman, and we call it a day. I think that's going to be what gets us game 1. I think what's somewhere in this series, whether it's game 2 or game 3, I think our next advantage, Alex Cora, is going to win us a game because I think he's a better manager than Aaron Boone. He's going to make that decision. He's going to be out there. Bayo's going to be in a spot, and Cora's either going to say, "You're done," and he's going to go right to his bullpen and start making those moves, or he's going to trust him and let him stay. And that's where I think Tolle is going to play a role somewhere in this whole thing. And I think you're also going to see probably Weissert, I think, is going to do something be a little bit unusual for us. I think he's going to be successful. But I think the Red Sox are going to win this series because we have Crochet and we have the better bullpen. We have Cora, who's better than Boone. And also there's that idea that we are an athletic team and we can make things happen, where I think the Yankees are going to have to rely on the home run ball. If our pitchers can keep the ball in Yankee Stadium, I think we have a good chance of winning.
Yeah, I mean, I like our ace and our bullpen, at least the back end of the bullpen, better. The other thing we were talking a little bit earlier about Harrison and Tolle and things like that, they may come into play. God forbid we should have an extra inning game. That might be a good solution or a good place where, you might have to use Harrison for 2 or 3 innings. Hopefully it doesn't come to that, but that's always a possibility in Alex Cora's favor. Before I go to Nick, Thayer, what is your projected lineup for tomorrow night?
My guess is it's probably going to be the Ref Snyder is going to be leading off, I think. I don't see.
He did already call that Duran will play left, so I'm guessing he leads off, but I don't know.
I think Duran is going to be down lower in the lineup. I think you're going to see maybe Romy and Ref Snyder are going to be in the top 5 somewhere. Bregman and Story probably having. I don't think you're going to see Yoshida, and I don't think you're going to see Abreu. So I think you're going to have Romy probably playing first base. Maybe going, although they may put him at second base and just stay with the defense necessary at first base. You're probably going to have Eaton in right field to get the right-handed bat in there, and then you're going to have Ref Snyder DHing.
Nick, your final take, and also what is your projected lineup?
I do think that the Red Sox will get out of this series. I think that they win the Crochet game. I think the Bayo game goes neck and neck. And I think it's going to lead to a game 3. And that's when Conley early and the bullpen are going to have to shine to get the Red Sox to the next round against the Blue Jays. So I'm calling a win tomorrow for Crochet, a loss on Wednesday, which will not be Bayo's fault. He's going to pitch absolutely fine. but I think the bats will probably go south a little bit that night, and you're going to have to rely a little bit on the bullpen. And then game three, I think you have the upper edge there for getting out of the series. Now, when in terms of your lineup, I don't like Romy Gonzalez leading off. I want to make that crystal clear. Romy is too valuable of a player right now when when a left-handed pitcher is tossing. I want him in my ideal 5 spot. I think they'll probably go with Ref Snyder as 1, um, Bregman, Story, probably the 2-3. You may put him in the 4. It just depends on how you feel. I will say, though, there, because of how hot Yoshida is, I actually think that Cora will DH him tomorrow. I don't know what's going to happen of that, but you got to ride the hot hand here, and I think Cora's going to do that. I will tell you, I will guarantee you, William Abreu's butt is on the bench tomorrow. If they already said that Duran is in left, which I don't love, but I get it, he'll be lower. You'll see him in probably the 7 spot or 8, something like that. Actually, probably 7. Then you'll round it out with Navarez and Rafaela. I don't see Nate Eaton in this lineup tomorrow. I'm curious to see what they do with Romy, if he's playing second or first, and then also what they do with Nate Eaton. I do feel that they should play Nate Eaton tomorrow in the lineup. I would like to see that, but it's going to become an interesting case here. We got to figure out kind of which scenario you're going to face. So once again, William Abreu will be on the bench. That's my guess. I am like 90% certain Yoshida's going to be in this lineup tomorrow. I really am. And it's crazy to even have me saying this, but I don't know how you can sit him right now. I don't. He has been a force right now the past couple weeks. Ride the hot hand, especially with the short porch and right. Who knows? We could have Boomsday tomorrow in New York.
Yeah, so for me, I like a little bit of both of what you've said. Obviously, Duran, Cora did come out and say Duran will play. There's a couple people on Twitter said they weren't sure if they like that idea or not. I'm on the fence, but I also know that, when Duran is on, he's a spark plug, and I hate to not have that available for 3 or 4 at bats. Again, the biggest question always with Duran is the strikeouts at his eyes. I mean, that's really what you got to worry about. And, looking for a fastball and gets an off speed and he's out in front and strikes out. So that's my concern for him. As far as first base is concerned, I don't know how I feel on that. Thayer, you brought up the defensive side. Obviously, Lowe would give you the better defense. I'm just not sure how that's going to play out with the left-handed starter and Fried. There's no question Romy starting tomorrow. I think we all can agree with that. It's just a matter of, is he your first baseman or your second baseman? I kind of am leaning that Cora might go a little bit more with his, I think more, I don't want to say established lineup because I don't think Abreu is going to play. But I think, gun to my head, I would say Lowe would be at first and Romy would be at second. Story short, Bregman third, Navarez catching, Duran in left, and probably, obviously, Sedon in center. I'll say Eaton in right. And I am going to go with you, Nick, and say Yoshida as the DH only because of what he's done recently. His last 28 days, he's batting .316 with an 800 OPS, 2 home runs, 13 RBIs. Over his last 14 games, .383 with a 967 OPS. And over the last 7 days, .379, a 400 on base with 1,000+ OPS. And somebody brought this up. And just 1 second. The other thing about this too with Yoshida, he has these spurts every year, and everybody knows I'm not a Yoshida fan, but I am sticking up for him right now because of this reason. He has these little spurts where he'll go on a tear, and that usually lasts about I don't know, a month, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 5 weeks, something like that, where he'll get 2 or 3 multiple hit games per week. Um, right now is kind of like his June, even though it's October, because of the time that he was out from this shoulder injury. So he's kind of more of a fresh bat in that lineup, and that may be something that is effective. Nick, go ahead.
I was just thinking of something. I noticed when you were pointing out the players in the lineup, Ref Snyder is the omission, which
Yeah,
leads me to believe, I think Ref Snyder's playing tomorrow. And I also think Nate Eaton's playing, and I also think Yoshida's playing. So the question here, where does everybody align? I personally think the odd man out now is Nate Lowe. I think Romy is the first baseman. Do they dare? And I don't want this. I'm just saying, I'm just spew of the moment. Do they dare put Sedan Rafaela at second? Duran moves to center, and then they find a way to get Nate Eaton into the lineup. I don't do that personally. So that means Yoshida here, if he is in the lineup, means Nate Eaton or Ref Snyder don't play. Correct?
Yeah, I didn't admit Ref Schneider on purpose. I was just kind of going quickly through what I thought at the top of my head. Um, but look, I mean, I don't know either. I mean, he's got to be in that game, or he's got to be a potential late inning bat off the bench. If they come in with a righty, then another lefty. I mean, you got Rondon in game 2. He's obviously going to be playing one or both of those games. But it is kind of a little bit of a quandary there, because the one thing you can say right now is Abreu is not the guy. And I'm kind of I think that's the only thing we can agree on, is that he doesn't look like he doesn't have a start tomorrow. Whether he has a start in the Rodon game, I kind of doubt that too. But it's kind of hard to not
You
get.
can't play him. You
No,
can't. Not against the lefty.
it's kind of hard to not start a game right now with Yoshida or Eaton. I think that's my quandary. And I mean, I think Rafaela has to be in center field, Nick. I know you brought up that idea of him playing second, but I don't want that in a playoff game. I need his glove out there in center field. I think that is imperative. It's been cute during the season, don't get me wrong, and I don't think he's bad there, but there is no way on God's green earth that you are a better defensive team with him in second base. Fair, your final reactions.
I think ultimately Eaton Eaton or Hamilton have to be on the bench still. You need to have that speed coming off the bench.
Yeah.
So I think that'll be one of the ways. I think he's probably going to mix and match it. Most likely, Ref Schneider has to be in there because he's the pro. My guess is they're going to have him DH, and the right field, maybe they go with Eaton in right field. If they put him in right field, if you want to get Yoshida in there, the issue with having Yoshida DHing, and if you're putting Ref Snyder in right field, if you want to go for defense at all, you have to take him out of the game.
Yeah.
And I kind of don't like that idea. That's why I think ultimately you're probably going to DH Ref Snyder, and then Yoshida can be the guy coming off the bench, because most of the Yankees bullpen is right-handed.
Yeah. Yeah, the cog in the wheel there winds up being Duran of all things, but
I'd sit Duran. I'm just telling you the truth. Over a lefty pitching, I would put Nate Eaton, loaded up with all the right-handed hitting. Sorry, Duran, you're the whiff king. Sit your butt down. Go pinch run in the 7th, 8th, 9th inning. I'm all set. Might be a nasty take. People may not like what I have to say on it, but I'm just calling it as I see. I would sit Duran the first 2 games. Sorry.
All right, I just quickly brought up Jaron Duran's stats against Max Fried. He's 0 for 10 with 5 strikeouts. So,
But he plays. It's
Yeah, so
ridiculous.
that's obviously not, something that you're, expecting great things on. But I think, again, it's one of those things. He's been your catalyst. He was your guy last year. He's playing 150 some odd, 160 games a year. And it sounds like Cora wants to reward him for that, more so than anything. So we'll see how it plays out. With that being said, I'm going to call tonight. I want to thank Thayer and Nick for being on. And, we will be on for a post game show tomorrow. We will be on post game show Wednesday. And then Thursday, if necessary, we will be on for that. Other than that, just hope for the best, and we'll see how this shakes out. My final thing is that if the Red Sox can win tomorrow, I also think that they win the series. But I think it hemorrhages all on tomorrow. I think if you lose tomorrow, it's going to be. I don't think they can cowboy up game 2 and